So moving on to the next. So what is the solution today? Okay, the solution to this problem is very good these days. Okay, so when the modified architecture got replanned, तो अब क्या होने लगा? We have kernel that is connected with hardware, and this is you, and again you are here typing your input. We know that the input is going to forward it to the shell. पहले ऐसा होता था, shell is trusting blindly to humans, जो कि बहुत बड़ा खतरा है, इंसानों पे भरोसा करना होता है, and it is translating to the kernel, but इस process को हमने बंद किया. So now we have given the responsibility, to shell to search about the existence of the program in the hard disk itself. Okay, and then if the program found, then you have to convert it back to the kernel. If the program is not found, you can directly say no to user. You don't have to go to the kernel for executing that. Okay, so check in the hard disk itself, but if it is not existing, respond back to user directly. You don't have to go to the kernel. But there is one more problem. Let's say in my laptop I am having 500 GB hard disk. So searching in 500 GB hard disk is not a big deal for shell. It's not a time taking process. What if one of your friend is having 2 TB hard disk in their laptop, or maybe server like Google where we have 64,000 terabyte storage? So if you keep increasing the size of hard disk, it will be a very burden, a very complex process for shell to search in that big amount of storage. Okay, this is the reason why when we created operating system for the first time, what happened? In every OS there is a location and there is a size or location that got fixed, that whatever operating system you want to use, you don't have to search in entire storage, you have to search only here. तो मतलब क्या किया गया कि एक लोकेशन बना दी गई या सेट ऑफ लोकेशंस बना दी गई, शेल को हमेशा यहीं पे सर्च करना है, चाहे पूरी हार्ड डिस्क कितनी भी बड़ी हो. और इस लोकेशन के अंदर मान लो फॉर एग्जांपल 5 फोल्डर के नाम डाल दिए, 5 डायरेक्टरीज. दैट मीन्स शेल को ये बताया गया कि आपको हमेशा इन्हीं 5 डायरेक्टरी में सर्च करना है, चाहे ओएस की साइज कुछ भी हो. एंड ऑल दीज डायरेक्टरी got stored under a variable, we call it path. Okay, तो आप ये मान लो कि रियलिटी में किसी भी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के अंदर पाथ वेरिएबल क्यों बनाया गया है, ताकि शेल वहाँ सर्च करे और वहीं से निकाल ले. राइट, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट विंडोज, लिनक्स और मैक, every single operating system has a path variable, and the use of path variable to maintain the list of directory where a command or a compiler or an interpreter can be there. तो मतलब अगर आपने जावा प्रोग्रामिंग की होगी तो आपको जावा का पाथ इसलिए ऐड करना पड़ता था ताकि शेल को फटाफट मिल जाए सब कुछ. राइट, सो आई एम फाइनलाइजिंग दिस डायग्राम अगेन. ओके, सो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, फाइनल स्टेप. ओके, so this is your kernel, it is connected with your hardware, and this is user, and here you are having input. We know that this is going to forward the request to the shell. Okay, so once you hit, when you type this command, the number 1 step, it is going to connect with the shell. That is step number 1. Okay, step number 2, shell is not going to search in entire storage, it is going to look for a path variable and path variable is having list of directory. Okay, so it is going to search here, that is number 2. Now I'm just writing if here, right here, found. That means if the program that you given, if it is found and not found. If it is not found, then the shell itself is going to give you the response directly without interacting to kernel. That is, I can just number, here there is a if, so number 4, if the program that you given is not found, then you can directly give the answer from shell. But what if found? So number 5, it is going to translate for kernel. Number 6, kernel with connect with the hardware and process it. Once it is processing whatever it is, either error or successful thing, so it is going to take response back from this. And then number 8, it is going to, kernel is going to respond back to the shell. And finally number 9, shell is going to retranslate it for you. Okay, so simply this is how a command is getting executed in Linux. Okay, I got one question by Manan. The capacity of path variable is the size of your operating system storage drive. इसका मतलब capacity of path variable is equivalent to the your C drive size. For example, आपने Windows को की C drive को जो भी size दिया है, उसकी जो भी capacity होगी वही path की capacity है. ऐसे Linux में भी, right? और हम इसे customize भी कर सकते हैं. There is not a problem. So अगर ये समझ में आया है तो you can say yes. खासकर ये बात की पाथ क्यों बनाया गया था रियलिटी में किसी टाइम पे. ओके, सो जस्ट लेट मी नो बाय गिविंग yes or no मैसेज कि आपको ये बात समझ में आई. आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग अ पिक्चर ऑफ इट and I'll paste it on LinkedIn, so and you can comment it back over there. Okay, alright, so just taking this one, connecting to LinkedIn. बाकी जितने लोग सेशन देख रहे हैं आपको इस पे कमेंट बैक करना है, इससे प्रोफाइल थोड़ी आपकी बूस्ट हो जाएगी. सो होला पीपल share your experience, right? About Linux shell. Okay, and I'm uploading that one. I don't know कौन सी इमेज है, बट जो भी होगी ये है शायद. Alright, choosing and done. Fine. So just given this, you can share your experience over there. ये एक अच्छी प्रैक्टिस है अगर आप LinkedIn पे सब अपडेट रखते हो तो. Anyway, and we'll be talking about a couple of things later on. Okay, so अब इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, किसी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा कि अगर आपको पता करना हो that what is the default shell of OS. तो देखो यहाँ से देखते हैं, अगर आपको डिफ़ॉल्ट शेल पता करनी है तो आपको कुछ कमांड याद करने की नीड नहीं है. आपने जानबूझ के क्या करो, इसे गलत कमांड दो, ये पाथ में सर्च करेगी, इसको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा तो शेल खुद ही रिप्लाई करेगी. फाइन. सी, सो इफ आई एम गोइंग देयर, अगर मैंने ये एंटर किया तब तो मुझे कर्नल से आउटपुट मिल रहा है. बट इफ आई एम डूइंग लाइक एनीथिंग, कुछ भी टाइप कर दिया, वो हो, look at the output. Who replied? So bash replied, the command you type is not found. You can compare with the diagram, right? So मैंने जब सही कमांड दी तब तो इसने कन्वर्ट किया पूरे 9 स्टेप को और आपको आउटपुट मिल गया. बट जब आपने कुछ ऐसा टाइप किया जो है ही नहीं, तो आपको किसने रिप्लाई किया? शेल ने. अब शेल वही रिप्लाई करेगी जो बाय डिफॉल्ट होगी. सो as we discussed, Fedora is using bash as a by default shell. तो आपको डिफॉल्ट शेल पता करनी है तो कोई भी अनशंट कमांड टाइप कर दो and you will get the answer. Okay, let's anything. For example, again. Okay, but if you type the correct one, get the one. Okay, all right. तो ये थोड़ा सा शेल के बारे में जो आपको मतलब अच्छा मेथड है if you want to check it. Okay, now more things about shell. So I am going to just browse it up. All right, now the next question, what are the locations under path variable? That means path variable is having some locations where the commands can be present. So there are very simple steps. So for example, if I want to check where exactly date command is present, so I can use which date. Once I use which date, you can see that USR bin is one of the location where date command is there. So what I can say, in my Linux based operating system /usr and /bin, this is, let's say, folder number 1, I can say directory 1, this is a part of your path. Okay, similarly, if I search for some big command like cal, okay, it's the same. Maybe I can search for ping, still same. I can search for user add, okay, a difference, usr sbin. See, usr sbin, that also means the second path under path variable is usr and sbin. Likewise, you have number of locations that is already defined by Linux or any other operating system as well. Okay, so simply you have to understand this in a very much particular way, the list of directories that is already there in the path. But I cannot keep finding like see which and by this command. So how I can check all the locations that is stored under path variable? Okay, so here in shell there is a command called echo. Okay, now echo is not a command, by the way. You can assume echo very much similar to print f of C language. Okay, very much similar to C language. So whatever you write in front of echo, it will just print it back. So it's a kind of printf of C language, or it doesn't matter, you're writing in numeric way, you're writing in a double quotes, or you're writing in single quotes. मतलब बहुत ही ज़्यादा अत्यंत chill command, right? So it doesn't matter you're typing in single quotes, double quote, without quote, whatever you want to give, just give it. Okay, so let's say if I just use a variable x, okay, and is equals to 1, and now if I'm saying x equal x, what will be the answer? So if you think answer will be 1, you're wrong, because I just explained whatever you write in front of x, it will give the same answer, okay. But you want to tell your Linux kernel or operating system, assume this x as a variable, so you can put dollar behind that, okay. When you put dollar, so anything you put dollar before that in Linux based environment, it will be counted as a variable, okay. So now similarly, whatever variables you are going to use, it is going to print it back, okay. So now if you talk about shell variable, there are two kinds: user defined shell, user defined variable, or the another one is system defined variable. So we have number of system defined variable. So let's say there is a variable automatically defined by your OS, that is capital shell, okay. The use of this variable is to give you the default shell answer. So now you have two methods. The one is type anything wrong and get the answer about your shell name, or maybe you can call this variable and get the shell name, okay. And the shell is stored under bin. Now it is a complete path, but the name of shell is bash, okay. So like this user system defined variable, we have number of more variable. Let's say if I want to check what is my current username, who am I, but how exactly who am I is figuring out this name. So who am I is connecting to a variable called user. So this variable is already predefined, okay. Likewise, we have a variable called path, okay. So I was telling you, rather than figuring it out one by one, that what are the locations under path,